We're going to talk about the Amotekun initiative by the Southwestern governors. There's been so many back and forth from the federal government and the governors from the Southwest that it is legal, it is not parallel to the security forces of the country. Can you take us through the legal process for this? Is it a legal initiative?
Okay, let's pick it up from the position of the Attorney General of the Federation that declared it an illegal move. And he established his point on the fact that the security management of Nigeria, talking about defense, is on the exclusive legislative list, which makes it a prerogative of the federal government. And some of us quite agree with that. And that is why we have the Federal Ministry of Defense, for instance, where you have the Air Force, the Naval Force, and the Army, and those that support the security drive in the country. And of course, for the purpose of our engagements today, it's good to let us know that the Ministry of Defense was set up as far back as 1958. And so you expect that by now, Nigeria should be relatively safe. And we have found ourselves in perhaps the deepest valley of insecurity in the history of Nigeria. And I hope that this will be the worst point. And when we came to that point, it became necessary for regions feeling unsecured to start looking for innovative ways of securing lives and properties. And the Attorney General of the Federation should also have realized that according to Section 14 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, it shall be the primary purpose of government to secure the people and to give the people, welfare packages. So, and the federal government appears to have failed in respect of these responsibilities, particularly when you know that right now we are still struggling out of the mud of being the capital of poverty. And you know that insecurity is the twin brother of poverty. So we have serious crisis here. So for the Southwest governors to come together, they also have a responsibility to secure lives and properties within their domain. So if looking up to the big brother, the big daddy, federal government, and that is not coming from federal government, I think social justice demands that they take a step. And having said that, it's nothing new in the country. As I know that in Borno State, given the level of terrorism and banditry going on, the governor recently engaged hunters with voodoo spiritual powers. In fact, some were engaged from foreign countries to help fight insurgency in that area. And it has not been declared as illegal. We have the Hizbah, the Muslim arm of law enforcement. You have governors negotiating with bandits. Even the state of my president, Katsina State, is not in any way safe. So should we continue with this level of insecurity? And we have the vigilante group of Nigeria, which has representation in all the regions, localized. Yeah. And we have different security outfits. For example, we claim that security is everybody's business, and I quite agree with that. Where I live, apart from the fact that we pay our taxes, we still employ security organizations to secure us. You see, we still contribute money to clear the drainages. We still support government. And I think when we begin to discuss the political aspect of this move, we get a clearer picture on this debate. So on the basis of talking about the exclusivity of putting up a military or paramilitary security forces, the Attorney General may be correct, but there is no law that forbids the security of lives and property. We are subscribers to the United Nations Charter. The United Nations came together in 1945 to try and bring the world closer, to find better ways of resolving conflict without ending in wars. And we subscribe to that. And it's all about defending fundamental human rights. But let me ask the question. You can only fight for your rights when you are alive. So the United Nations recognizes the responsibility of being secured, and that cannot be taken away from anybody.
Okay, sir. So now the Attorney General said this is this security is supposed to be on the exclusive list, but then it still does not change the fact that this initiative is clashing with that fact. While we understand that there's supposed to be there's supposed to be need for this kind of innovation based on the current security challenges, but I'm still curious to know that what will be the functions of this initiative? Will it not clash with already established security agencies? Will it not? Do they have another agenda? Do they have something else they will focus on rather than what the police and other paramilitary forces are supposed to be doing?
Interestingly, the government at the federal level probably started the drive that has led us to this regional security outfit. I recall that the Chief of Army Staff, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Inspector General of Police, all called for military-civilian collaboration in fighting insurgency. All right. At the time, they started asking us to go spiritual, to pray. And sometimes they told us that they were doing their best. But in a country where the defense apparatus claims to be doing the best, and between January 1 and July 2019, 1,460 human beings were killed in a country, reportedly by the same government, or thereabout. And you divide that population by 7 months, it came mathematically to about 208 lives wasted in a country of 36 states. When you add Federal Capital Territory, 37 states, and we think there is no problem. In fact, a foreign commentator said that we have lost our sense of shock. How many people died recently in which country? And they declared a state, was it in Burkina Faso, a state of national mourning. You see, so you find situations where we claim to be grooming and enhancing a particular economic activities. I'm talking about ranching, cattle business. Yeah. And you find herders going to kill people in their farms, rape their wives, destroy their produce. They do this, they appear not to be apprehended, and you advise the victims not to embark on reprisal attacks. I mean, the Constitution of Nigeria was based on equity, justice, and fairness. All right. So when you find all this, you cannot but defend yourself. So, and on the aspect of legality, if the federal government thinks what the southwestern governors have done is illegal, put together, then go to court. It's not for the Attorney General to come out and declare it as illegal. No, it also happened in the days of IPOB, before IPOB proscription. There was a need for courts to pronounce on it. All right? And you can now see the politics aspect of it. We are talking about security of lives and property. A group is telling the southwestern stakeholders that they may not have the 2023 presidency. Who is interested in the presidency of 2023? When lives are not secured, when there's poverty in the land, when there's hunger in the land, when there's confusion in the land, when we are wrongly branded abroad. You look at the public relations implications of the state of this nation right now, you will weep for Nigeria. And so we really need to bring back the spirit of patriotism and nationalism. Okay, but we have allowed politics to be exalted. And if our leaders in the southwestern part of the country, leaders in the southeast, leaders in the northeast, northern part, are more interested in who becomes the presidency upon a country that should be flying high that is limping, then I weep for them.
Okay, sir, let's talk about the political part. So, would you say that this has anything to do with the 2023 presidential race? This move? Is there any link?
Yeah, there is a link. And that link is highly irresponsible. And it's always been there. You must have heard about the Kano riot of 1953 or 1956. That was before we gained our political independence in 1960. The northern people said, we are not ready to step out of colonialism. The southern people said, we were ready. And they started killing each other. And it is the same politics that is still controlling everything. So right now, and I will extensively deal with this today by way of setting agenda. The 1978 Mexican Statement about Public Relations described it as the art and social science of monitoring trends, predicting their consequences, and advising clients on what can be done to maximize and prevent any shock eventually and have mutual benefits. It came up as a political strategy that you must lobby throughout all the regions to win at the polls. So you've seen the North romancing the Southwest, romancing the South-Southeast. In fact, you will recall that towards the 2019 election, promises started coming that presidents will go to Southwest, presidents will go to Southeast. And I asked a question, if you are throwing a sweet bone to two ferocious dogs, what are you trying to do? All right, so it has become a negotiating tool. But I can advise those who are in the Southwest, those who are in the Southeast, that if care is not taken, there is likely to be a political merger. And I will explain myself. Former head of state, military head of state, and civilian president of this country, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, warned on Fulanization of Nigeria. How many people say, oh, keep quiet? But go out to Lagos now, go around the country and see the foreigners that have been imported into this country. I see a lot of them. They are young guys between 16, 17. Before the next election, they will be of age to vote. And they will get their PVCs easily. So when you get to a polling booth within your region, you are outnumbered by some registered foreigners who have been brought in legally to compete with you, and without rigging elections, you may lose out at the polls. But some politicians are not saying that now. They are saying presidency that may not come. And I've asked this question. Those who walk away from their history are going into a dark future. What happened to Hope 93? And that is why some of us are focusing on the advocacy for national development. We have played too much of politics in this country. I mean, the resources don't belong to any political party. Crude oil does not belong to any political party. Bauxite does not. The gold deposit in Zamfara State that can deliver minimum of $2 billion to that state annually does not belong to any political party. Yeah. You know, so what exactly is going on? And it's this politics we are playing that is causing everything. So we keep negotiating. But I'm saying now that those who should be awake should rise up from their slumber and check what is going on. If not, the political game will change to the extent that there may no longer be a discussion about your regional relevance, but your regional irrelevance. And that is a warning for politicians.
So, like what you have said now, is it safe to say that Amotekun is a way to check that?
Let's take it clearly. Amotekun is just a security aspect of an agenda, a global agenda, regionally global. It came out of a summit tagged DAWN, D-A-W-N, Developing Agenda for Western Nigeria. But let me ask you this question. The daughter of the leader of Afenifere, Chief Fasorochi, a man of over 90 years, was assassinated. Till now, how far have we gone with that case? Have you been counting the number of kidnappings? And we are talking about the reported ones.
Yes.
even where the so-called criminals are known. You see, so we have now come to the point where you cannot just wake up one morning and say, I want to visit my hometown. All right. Then who should be comfortable with insecurity? Farmers can hardly go and farm, and yet we are talking about diversifying the economy. That is why we are in poverty. So now you have the responsibility of securing me. But you are telling me that you are doing your best. And I'm losing by the day. And you want to tie my hands again not to secure myself. We should get these things clear. We already have some of these paraphernalia at the state level because of the traffic situation in Lagos State. We have the LASMA. I recall that because of the traffic situation also, during one of our engagements with the then senior special advisor to the governor on transportation, we started discussing the issue of having a traffic radio. We have a traffic radio in Lagos. You want to talk about neighborhood watch? We have neighborhood watch in Lagos State. All right, you go to some other operation, this operation, that. All right, and I think the area of concern may be the fact that with this coordinated effort, there may come up a force so strong to really checkmate perhaps the inefficiency of a federal system that has failed in delivering on the obligations of governance. Okay. So I think they are looking at that. And for those who may want to oppose this project, they are also looking at the fact that with some of these governors not abuse, but then the issue of whether they can carry ammunition and all those things. So having said all this, I think there is also need for stronger consultations from the drivers of this project. But I know, and it's on report, that the stakeholders were consulted. The General of Police attended some of the meetings, but maybe the launching was not properly done. Or maybe they are beginning to realize that, hey, if these people gather with this level of force, what happens? And I'm still asking a question. Those who are responding that the Southwest may lose presidency in 2023, are they agencies of the federal government? Are they spokespersons of the federal government? So we need to come to the point where we critically discuss our unity in this country. And there are obvious elements showing regional injustice.
Okay, sir.
We cannot shy away from that.
Okay, sir. The next point is going to be about national integration. And when this initiative came up, a lot of people were, like you said, not agencies of the government, not spokespersons of the government, came out to talk about how this initiative is going to lead to disintegration, how it's maybe a step towards Nigeria breaking up, how it is like whipping up so many sentiments on national integration and national unity. What do you see to this? Do you think it is a step towards that, or it is just going to be defending and securing lives of Southwesterners? I
recall the literature book we read in the secondary school, and as far back as the 70s, 80s. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Fine. If those who should hold us together in security, in prosperity, in creating an enabling environment fail, then we are drifting towards a collapse. It's obvious. I use this analogy. Marriage is expected to be enjoyed. But if my wife chooses not to cook for me, and I start going to buy food in canteens, and she now starts complaining, how do we resolve that crisis? By going back to the drawing table. Now, my dear, you are supposed to cook for me. I mean, I enjoy your food. But if you stop cooking for me, should I starve to death? Are we saying that insecurity should be a narrative in our country? I mean, let's be real. You know, I've noticed this country for something. We throw away the real issues and we begin to discuss issues that are probably not connected. Recently, somebody came up asking for good governance, asking for implementation of minimum wage, asking for justice. He was start to be pushing revolution. And I asked a question at that point. What led to our political independence in 1960? Was it not a revolution driven by some patriotic Nigerians that no, we cannot continue under this colonial system? Revolution is a drastic change. And that is probably what Amotekun is bringing. No matter how we debate it, a project has, risen that will make us to probably come together and discuss on how we continue as a united country or how we go regionally. There is no region that is not blessed in this country. All right. But I am recommending what happened in Rwanda. And that's why I appreciate the advice of those who've had the opportunity of managing this country in the person of General Yakubu Gowon, retired, and some elder statesmen warning us that a country that has a second civil war is a very foolish country, and few countries with that experience survive it. That the leadership should not mismanage our unity. It's critical. There is need for leadership, purposeful leadership. I know in Rwanda, when they came out of their genocide and stupidity, the leaders said, we are tired of ethnicity. And he outlawed ethnicity. That economy is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa now. I have said it before. They have so restructured that country that they are economically viable, doing very well, that I think in 2017 or 2018, that country brought in about $400 million from tourism alone, connecting with global development across the world. So if our leaders who are custodians of the governance privilege in this phase of the national life of this country consider it wise to unite us, protect us, provide for us, link us up with sustainable development as provided for the Constitution and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, so be it that we remain united. So it's all about leadership. I mean, I will never drift away from putting responsibility on leadership.
Okay, sir. I'd like us to talk about the key actors in this Amotekun issue. So we have the governors who are doing what is their constitutional duty, but we have other people like there was a response yesterday to the AGF by Gani Adams, Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, Gani Adams. And do you think that with people like Gani Adams coming to talk about this, is there something we should be scared of?
There is nothing to be scared of.
Because of course, he has a reputation, he has the OPC.
You see, in public relations, we talk about crisis management. You can be proactive or reactive. When you are reactive, you are senseless. When you are proactive, you are wise. Being proactive is preventing. OPC has always been there. There is no system that cannot be abused. Is it not on record that even the military, claiming to be fighting insurgency, have been involved in several human rights abuses, whether we deny it or not? Recently, some soldiers claimed in another part of the country that they are denied their welfare. Several abuses. So there is no system that is not subject to abuse. Is it not an abuse that the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources, the principal resource God has given us in this country, spends through NNPC, as I claim, 11 trillion naira in 6 years on subsidy? Yet we have refineries that are not functioning, and we claim to be wanting to repair refineries. Is it not traumatic that we have borrowed, I think our total indebtedness now is about 25.7 trillion naira, and we lay claim to massive infrastructure, but recently the National Assembly was compelled to ask the federal government to declare a state of emergency on infrastructure, roads and things like that. So what is not subject to abuse? But if through leadership you coordinate effectively, we won't come to where we are now. People have lost trust in the federal government on security. We appreciate their efforts, but like we learned in literature, you have to be careful about expressions. If I have a security guard I have employed in my house, and by the time I engaged him, I had 4 cars, and my reason for calling him in is that somebody removed 2 side mirrors. And after 2 years of this security guard, I'm left with 2 cars. And suddenly I woke up one morning, the battery of one is gone, the bonnet of another is gone, and this man is telling me I'm doing my best. I need to check my dictionary. So it's about effectiveness. There's a difference between efficiency and effectiveness. You can efficiently run around Lagos with your Uber car on a regular basis. But effectiveness means bring the revenue. So what values are we adding to society? And yet you keep hearing different campaigns. So we need to get serious. So if the federal government has nationalistic tendency to governance, we don't have problems that we cannot solve. But day in, day out, regional interest is becoming more pronounced, whether through direct language or body language. And it is against justice. And any society that does not nurture justice is heading for crisis.
Okay, Sam. Let's look at other possible solutions to this. There was a national conference in 2014 that talked about how we should restructure Nigeria and engage ourselves, talk about this issue of national unity, how people feel that Nigeria should work from the point of the centenary celebration onwards. Nothing has happened to that document. Is it not a very good time to bring that out and start talking about that, and like using that as a basis for restructuring and anything we want to do? Why something like, while Amotekun is still good, but why not something much more general and with a nationwide approach?
One weakness we have in Nigeria, perhaps Africa, is this talking syndrome. When I'm on vacation in the US, even when you phone Nigeria from US, you are likely to start hearing noise. Over there, people are they are strategic, they deliver. Did you see how Donald Trump dealt with Iran recently? Did you see the precision of technology? A drone that was targeted at just like that. Bam, bam. But here, we set up conferences, committees, we debate, we talk, and we put the document. I have said it, and I'm echoing it today. The recommendations that have been presented to the Nigerian government can manage the whole world prosperously. But there is a saying also that where there is a will, there is a way. But where there is no will, there is no way. Aesop, a Greek author, said, after much is said and done, more is said than done. All of them who come to manage Nigeria, let's take it from this democratic dispensation. Did they not come up with manifestos, promises? If you look at the nation of January 4, 2015, or thereabout, this present government at the central level promised state policing through one of the big wigs in the party. There was a time the Sultan of Sokoto and some northern leaders visited the Aso Villa. The president promised to equip the police, enhance them through technology and everything, because everyone is concerned about this security. What have we done? And after that promise came up the Kogi state election that took place recently. And the Inspector General of a whole nation came out to disclose that fake policemen overpowered Nigerian police. I don't need what else we need. Maybe when police now begin to run to thugs to secure them, we know we have crisis. And I think that is what the Southwestern governors are saying, that, no. Some people must rise to this occasion. So I think the best approach now is for the federal government, if there is any trace of patriotism within that system, to sit back and probably go and study the constitution and the obligations of office. That are we delivering? Should people be secured in this country? If we have security, won't foreign direct investments come in? Should people be poor? When we ask these basic questions and we deliver on good governance, it's so easy to reverse this trend that we have. All countries of the world are troubled. And I came up also with this revelation born out of research. You look at the real poor countries of the world, quite a number of them accommodate terrorism. You go to the Asia region, you talk of the Asian tigers, Hong Kong, and all those ones that are rich. They have zero tolerance for terrorism. You look at the poorest regions of Asia, talk of Yemen, talk of Afghanistan, they are terrorist zones. Mali was one of the richest regions in the world. Go and check Mali out now. So terrorism will erode your prosperity. And who is interested in not enjoying life? Look at Singapore, our classmates in poverty in the 60s. It's one of the best places to live and work today in the world. So it's all about leadership. It's so embarrassing. At a point, my president, whom I love so much, went to Ghana to promise Ghana to help Ghana fight corruption. And Ghana said, no. On the rating, you are worse. Go and sort yourself out. Recently, my president, whom I love so much, sent a message to Burkina Faso that Nigeria will not tolerate any terrorism or violence in Burkina Faso. And I looked at home like a son. I said, God, have mercy. Because they say charity begins at home. So these are serious issues. But I, Jide Ologun, I have a suggestion for Nigeria to solve our problem. Psalms 133 says, behold, how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. And I can stand to challenge any leader in this country that I doubt if this country is united. And unless we deal with that virus, we will just be dancing around the circle.
How do we deal with the virus?
I asked a simple question earlier. And let me ask you now. What is the ethnicity of crude oil?
No.
What is the ethnicity of electricity?
No.
What is the ethnicity of bitumen? Sir, my country supplies electricity to Benin Republic, Niger Republic, and probably Togo. And yet, in fact, the latest now is that the grid has collapsed twice or so this year. And it's affecting our industrialization move, if we have any. Just keep on increasing taxes, businesses are collapsing. My country, I hope you know, if you don't, I'm telling you, is constructing a railway line from, I think, Kano to Maradi. Maradi is the third, one of the largest cities in Niger Republic. There is likely to be a refinery being constructed at the border of Nigeria and Niger Republic. Big brother Africa. And yet our refineries are not working. There's a number of children out of school. My president is now struggling to move 100 million out of poverty in 10 years. And our population, like we have accepted, because we didn't come up with that figure, is about 200 million. So if half of your population is within the poverty bracket, you're in serious trouble. And it's not likely that our population will be controlled in any way, like Singapore did. In fact, we have even gone out there to Egypt to announce visa on arrival. You see, so even though we have shut the borders, land borders again, so we need to come to the point where we structure our policies in line with global trends. Some countries, as we sit in these lovely studios, are looking for where to bring in prisoners to keep their correctional facilities running. I know some bring in prisoners from Norway. They don't have prisoners anymore in their societies. This is so. Why can't we be like that? Look at what Donald Trump has done. Donald Trump has come to the point where China and America are on the same page economically. Because the man just felt, you are taking advantage of my country, I won't take that. That is leadership. All right, so if we go back and now decide to start doing the right things, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, I understand, interviewed Lee Kuan Yew of Singapore that, hey, Lee, what did you do? And Lee told our Papa that we decided to do the right thing and we'll continue to do the right thing. So if we come to that point in Nigeria to declare, and that's what some of the old leaders are saying now, those who have witnessed it, that, hey, we need to be careful. We all belong to Nigeria. The resources in Nigeria are too enormous. We need resourceful leadership. I keep saying it, Donald Trump is a New Yorker. But that does not give New York any advantage over Texas. You see, they don't, Americans must enjoy 50 states, consistent power supply all around, education, good health.
Right,
so they have advanced problems, but we have rudimentary problems and very crude problems in Nigeria.
Okay, sir.
We need help.
There's a part to leadership. There are two parts to leadership. There's a part of governance and the part of politics. I am of the opinion that we have very good politicians and people that are not very good with governance. So, looking towards 2023 now, I think we shifted from the Amotekun. I'm still going to go back to it though. Looking towards 2023, what should Nigerians now look out for? We have extremely good politicians, but
extremely good in what sense? When you talk about extremely good politicians, then by now I think we should be maybe the fourth richest countries in the world.
What
Our
I'm saying
education
is
system should be
that's the
for
governance.
the world.
That's the governance part.
And that is the essence of politics.
But
politics seeks to put a structure in place to manage the governance system. All right? And it is the performance of that governance system that justifies the political processes. All right? And I have said it, if we pay more attention to governance, politics will be easy. Recently, election took place in the UK. Some people, I'm sure, did not hear about it. It was so fluent, crisis-free, but yet our 2019 election got about 286 billion naira conservatively. You saw the violence and everything. And when we now begin to say sovereignty belongs to the people according to Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria, from whom the government derives authority, what kind of sovereignty is that? When right now military is almost becoming part of our electoral processes. You saw what happened in Kogi State and Bayelsa State recently. That if you love your life, you may stay away from the polling booths. You can see different kinds of judgment and, and you can see threats. How can you be saying a region may lose presidency? I mean, we are sick, I must say. So if we come to the point that we need to enjoy the resources God has given us, what part of this country is not blessed? And let me give this warning. Even those who appear to be gaining upper hand now, in terms of insecurity, they are the most endangered. You read it in the newspapers. Traditional rulers crying out. Drug addicts, criminals, bandits. How can criminals just come to society, kill 73, destroy houses, set these things ablaze? I mean, so it's worrisome. It's worrisome. And even the parts of the country that appear to be safe, like safe haven, are now being bombarded by different kinds of elements that may become difficult to manage in the future. So Nigeria needs to go and learn from Rwanda. Nigeria needs to go and learn from Tanzania. Nigeria needs to come to the point of asking exactly what are we benefiting from this crisis, from this insecurity, from this poverty. You see, and again, it's good for us to wisely think of it that when some Nigerians escape from this country and they go abroad, they thrive. So that shows we have a sick environment. You see, our children excel abroad. I mean, you see, even these our leaders, how many of their children school in Nigeria? We don't know the implications of some of the things we condone and nurture in this country. My country that gained independence in 1960 and 57 years after, my president is still taken to the colonial master for treatment. We are sick, sir.
All right, sir. Let me finally.
So these are serious issues, and it may shock you that probably some of the doctors in that foreign land treating my president are Nigerians. You need to ask questions. Let the resources of this country be used to develop the country. We have spoken so much about modular refineries. Do you know how many products we even lose? By exporting our crude oil for refining over there, we are creating jobs for foreign countries. And yet we are here because there are some greedy elements. Because if I ask the question, the so-called subsidy, they said they have abolished it in 2016. We were told the increased pump price of fuel from 87 Naira kobo to 145, claiming the upstream and downstream, all the BB grammar. We now, and they were pushing the effects and everything. And here we are now. I hope you know that the value-added tax is jumping from 5% to 7.5%.
Yeah.
That is by half of what it used to be. You know the battles we have had with POS charges, stamp duties, different kinds of taxations in an economy like ours. So there is need for resourceful thinking. You can live by either of two ways. You can live by default and you can live by strategy. Those who live by default are poor. And who is the poor? The one that passes over opportunities repeatedly. And a wise man said, if you keep doing things the way you have been doing it, and you expect a different result, you must be insane. So it's time for us to be innovative, connect with the right thinking people of the world. Germany was in Nigeria to discuss with us on our area. We have all these things on paper, and I have said it by the grace of God that some of us can bring investors into Nigeria from some countries to fix our electricity. But recently, the federal minister in charge of electricity said there's some cabal everywhere. But I know that Nigeria will rise and shine. But the leaders need to realize that they will be remembered for either adding value to Nigeria or crippling the fortunes of this country.
Okay, sir. Finally, let me go back to Amotekun, which is where we started from. So, what do you suggest, or what are the things you suggest that would not allow Amotekun be misused, that the purpose will be achieved?
The governors should focus on the main goal of Amotekun, security of the people. How do we go about it? Intelligence gathering. If criminals have infiltrated our communities, we can fish them out. I can assure you that the Southwesterners, they know where these people are hiding. Yeah. This is our land. Engage them. Recently, I think in Ondo State or one of these states, some of them ran when they saw hunters. All right, engage them, those we can apprehend. That's why I refer to the United Nations Charter. You can apprehend some, and if you look at between section 272 to 275 of the Criminal Code, it gives civilians power to prevent crime, apprehend those who are, engaging in crime, hand them over to the law enforcement agents. But the big question now is that, can the law enforcement agents of the country be trusted? With the debate of exclusive legislative list, because you benchmark expectations with what is on ground. With the antecedents we have had in this country, can they be trusted to deliver on national security? If that is not so, they may not be able to prevent Amotekun. Amotekun may come out in another form, because self-preservation is the first law of nature. And the Southwestern governors should see this as an opportunity to bring them together beyond party lines. This region must prosper. This region must progress. This region must have peace. We must maximize. And those who are in the National Assembly should begin to engage this government. If from the central level, Nigeria cannot prosper, then let's begin to open up new discussions. I mean, we have 109 senators, 360 House of Reps members who are supposed to be representing us. They will leave office. Even if they have the money and the political strength, after 5 terms in the Senate, you must be tired. You come back home. So do you want to be kidnapped at that age when you come back home? Or are you going to set up your own police? So let's all come together now and make this country a better place by being responsible. Any office you are given to handle, be responsible. Your oath of office is first to the nation. All right. And if we put this into practice, all of us will enjoy it. I like to say this, that the insecurity of one is the insecurity of one, of all. You cannot tell who the next victim may be. You notice that even in Zimbabwe, those who were really protecting, who were the strong men of the former president, were the ones who came out and said, no, you got to step aside. And I'm sure that the taking out of Soleimani in Iran, some close allies must have been compromised. So security is the pathway to prosperity. And any government, any authority that fails to deliver on security has a lot of questions to answer, not just before human beings, but before God also.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Welcome, sir.